And what we would like you to do now is you need to choose. That's why you're here. You're not here to eat only. Do you realize that? There's a paper. You need to choose a spokesperson in your round table. Okay? You need to discuss issues where you have picked up in the presentations and discussions up to now. And please list those issues in bullet form. Thank you very much, George. And then list those issues that you think we as planners, as business people, can think through how we can improve whatever has been discussed today. And then you need to discuss those issues around the table. And what we're going to ask, we're going to have main course now. And then what we will do is we're going to invite each table to highlight 1 or 2 points. So your spokesperson need to have about 3 to 5 minutes when we start serving dessert, and just talk us through the main issues that you've been talking around the table. We need it, unfortunately, on a piece of paper because we need it documented, and we would like to take those issues forward. I've got some news as well. Our Deputy Minister, Deputy Minister Nduzi Manana, agreed to be our patron for entrepreneurship in university, college, and school education. So he's expecting us to come with some deliverables out of this meeting so that we can take forward it into a project proposal that we can, and he wants to go to the Department of Small Business Development to see how we can help our youth to develop entrepreneurial skills.
Program Director, thank you so much for this opportunity, and to the Dr. Maponya Foundation that has come up with this. This is long overdue, and we thank God that today it is taking place in this time, in this season that we're in. I'm actually sad that Mr. Costa has already left, because we're talking to what he's presented to us today. Because he's out there on the field, and he knows the truth of what is going on in the field. He's not reading about it, he's doing it. So as a group, we sat and looked at the issues that he raised concerning funding. Because we are saying we want to create a situation where people can actually run their businesses effectively, and looking at our youth going forward. Most of our youth have got great ideas, but where do they get the funding from? So the funding system, we looked at it and said, the current funding system that we have with our banks, even with the government's funding, they're still sticking to the old system where they will ask for things that they know that their youth do not have when they start. You come with a divine idea, but you need funding, but you are told that you need to have experience, you need to have this, you need to have that. So we need to change the funding system to carry that innovation to its fruition through the system, not looking at you like the old system. Where's your financials? Where do you get financials when it just started with an idea? So we're looking at the youth in university who are doing this. Oh, I'm happy you're back. Thank you. So the youth that's got an idea at university, he wants to go out and make it big with that idea, but the funding that's required, the system that they're using to evaluate, needs to talk to that youth who's got an idea. Emerging farmers, I'm an emerging farmer, I'm speaking from reality. We need access to a land, but we are asked to bring collateral. As a woman, you've just stopped working, you've sacrificed everything, you say, I'm going into farming, and they say, where's your 10%? That you must bring as collateral. So those are the things that they need to change as a system. Look at how we can look at things going forward. Because we're saying we need access to funding, but we still have a challenge where we have a bottleneck, where you are asked to bring stuff that you know you don't have. You spoke about mentorship, which is taking place. I know we're going through lots of mentorships, but at university level, talking to the higher education, you've raised a forum which now you say it hasn't materialized, but I think this is the time where it needs to go forward. We've been drafting documents, but when are we implementing? So I think this is the time where universities need to now have that entrepreneurial university where a child from high school can go to that university and be taught, and they live there to create employment. We've got only 14 years to deal with the 2030 issue in this nation. 14 years, and it's not a lot. 14 years. 2030, it's 14 years from here. So that university needs to take place, and in collaboration, we need to go back to the triple P where we said government needs to partner with private sector. As a university, you need to be communicating, because we are finding that we are operating in silos, where government is doing its own projects, corporate is doing its own projects. When are we bringing all those things together? Corporate can actually assist. We have a situation of first must fall. But if corporate can adopt students that want to go into entrepreneurship, and they support them, as university, we're there to teach them, and they're there to fund them. So we don't have a situation where the university needs to carry the buck. Corporates need to communicate back to the government, because government cannot create jobs on their own. They need corporate. I'm from a corporate background. Now, I did my articles at Deloitte. And now with this entrepreneurship that has always been in me, I've gone into farming. But the challenge that we meet is the funding and access to markets. And I'm happy that we've got a lady here who's actually helping us as women in business, where we create networks as women to meet and collaborate and work on projects going forward. So collaboration is key in this transformation agenda for economy of this nation. We can't be operating one person that side, one person on the other side. So for the higher education, I'm happy that you've already got a forum. Take the forum forward. You communicate with corporate. Corporate has got funds that they want to use, but who do they talk to? So you identify students within that university where you're saying we are raising entrepreneurs, and say, we've got 50 entrepreneurs, can you come in with a solution to say, how do you adopt them into the system? So it creates that relationship, which must continue now to bring this economy. Because when you have successful SMMEs, you've got the economy that can employ that 11 million that we have as a deficit in the next 5 years. It's doable. It's just that we need to stop talking and start doing. So that's all we could share. Then with access to markets, we said some of the entrepreneurs are raised at childhood level, where we can start at primary school to give them that curriculum that covers entrepreneurship. I sold sweets when I was at primary school, and that thing has grown into me. So those things need to be nurtured back into our school system, where kids are taught how to do business whilst at school. Then they come to this entrepreneur university, they're already ready to take the baton and just run with it. Then with access to markets, it comes back to creating networks. Networks are very important. And talking to other business people. I'm sitting here with dynamic ladies, some are in petroleum. But if you don't talk, how will you know? So that's why we need to create networks going forward. And the network doesn't stop here. It needs to go back where we're coming from. Create networks. Let's talk as people. Thank you.
Just introduce yourself.
Thank you. My apologies, I didn't introduce myself. I'm so excited about this whole thing. My name is Bongile Cele. I'm from Cebo Group. We are an avocado farming company. We've just started, and we're really excited. We're ready to export to Israel.
Hi everyone. My name is Sello Simore from Maharishi Institute. We understood that we needed to assist with two issues. The first one was the funding, ideas how you can get that sorted, and how we can make entrepreneurship work in the school system. That's what we started at. So in terms of the funding, sir. We're not going to talk problems from that table. We had everybody else, all the speeches, the challenges that came about and all that. All we decided to talk about is solutions. So we'll give you solutions, you remember the problems. The table is about solutions only. Firstly, subcontracting becomes a good tool for funding. To say all these big organizations that are getting contracts for 5 years or so, get the teams that you have or the entrepreneurs that you have to be subcontracted by those. Firstly, the company that will be subcontracting, it'll be benefiting in terms of the BE points for supply development. And in a sense, the smaller guys will be getting incubated because they'll be working within a good corporation. Then from there, it'll be easier for them to stand on their own because they would have had that startup. That's the first one. The second one is every single one of the people that you are assisting, and as a way of getting away from a culture of just accepting, it needs to be a condition to say, you got the grant. You need to assist the ones that are coming. How? Becomes a grant condition to say, it's a grant. Either 80% of the grant is to be repayable to help the next person coming, or a certain percentage of your profits comes into the kitty, not back to the grantor, comes into the kitty of the community so that the next person that wants to start something within that community can tap into that kitty. The other one is the pay it forward concept. Again, say all the recipients from a certain community needs to be involved in your analysis of a new project or a new idea, so that if they all believe in it, like you'd believe in it, hence you'd want to help get the grant or the funding for it, maybe the grant becomes an issue because maybe the kitty is, so maybe you need to go to the bank. So these guys become, what's the word that we used? The sureties, they play as sureties for the new guy who's starting a new venture, to say, give him the funding. If something goes wrong, we'll fit the bill. It becomes a condition as well in that way. The other idea is those guys that have ideas. Maybe you come up with an idea because you saw an opportunity and you want to address a problem that you see in your community or somewhere else. Those that you see as customers to you, especially if they're organizations, go to them and ask for funding for them. Say, I see you